program where we need to retrieve the ID name of the patient by the ID of the patient name. Okay, so let's create the patient class first, object of the patient class. And then we will read. Okay, so even before that, let's check whether we are receiving a valid ID or not. So let's just basically print whatever we are getting. The ID, just will print patient ID. And here is the client, and then we are creating a client for that server, and then read the resource, and from that resource whatever the objects we can get, or get the data from, and the patient class will be the object for it, or the resource type, and then we will pass the patient ID into it, whatever the patient ID, and we need to execute this. So this gives basically the object information into the patient class, all the information regarding that patient, based on that ID. So we need to take just the patient name for here. So just let's print the object. Let's get the name from that patient class object. So let it be a string. We need to pass on that patient name equal to, and the patient class patient class. Okay, it is not giving any. Okay, it is. Okay, I think I missed adding the basic required class, import files here. So let's check that. I think they are all there. This is correct. Oh, I'm sorry, this is missing. And the patient class, the client dot read. Okay, change to the patient class. Okay, and we should be able to retrieve the get patient ID, get name. Okay, and that should give the patient name. And okay, we get the first part. It's still get name, and we need to get that string part of the complete object. So that should give us the name. So we need to return this variable patient name. So let's test here. string patient n equal to reader dot get name patient id, and we will pass a id which we have 136 3293 3293. And here we have some errors. Oh, okay, it's declared as okay. Oh, and this. Okay, that's the issue. Public static. Okay, void main. I'm declaring the main function here so that we can test in the program itself. Okay, so I'm declaring that a simple read so that we can test by passing on the patient ID into the function. So test uhm.ca/base dstu3. String patient n equal to name get patient name by patient ID, and we will pass the 1363293, and we will print out that name. System.print system.out.print patient name equal to. Okay, let's compile this and execute. So it's running. We pass the patient ID, and oh, sorry, it's the patient variable we did not declare. Where will it get the data? Yes. Now we will run it again. Okay, the ID matches with the John Smith, and here we display the John Smith name. Okay, then we will go to the listing of patient IDs based on the first name. Okay, and for that we will use the existing function structure which is given to us, and we are passing the name of the patient, and we will need to display based on that details. So let's print the received data. So that here we are receiving the name of the patient, name. We are just receiving the name. So from here we need to add. Okay, let's declare a list. So because a name is just one single name can match many of the IDs, so we will get all the, we need to add them into the list and we need to return a list. So just we will declare that list variable, which is a string. We will save the data as into a string list. So patient ID, and it is a list, and it's a new array list, and that's a string. Okay. So based on that, we will receive all the search IDs. Okay, so we are putting those search IDs variables. We need to start with small letters, search IDs, and the client is the object for the server which we are interacting, and then go for a search, and then we need to get all those resources, and what we are passing is the patient object we need to pass. So okay, so from that version we need to we will use the where class here, and in the where class we need to pass our search query. So this search query will be based on the name and which matches the name. So value of the name, whatever the variable which we are getting the name, and return that, return bundle. And what is that class? It is the bundle which return, and finally execute it. So this gives the complete bundle of the IDs whatever the query matches for. So okay, so we need to loop through this bundle and just grab the IDs because it has much more information from that search query. So because we are searching for the complete set, so okay, so let's get the first size of that total bundle. So the size would be the integer obviously, and integer. Okay, let's put the variable name as search ID count equal to search ID. So get entries on here, and the size of the total search bundle. So we need to loop through that size, so we will use a for loop for integer k for each of the searches. So search equal to k, it should be, we will loop through all the entries. So search, we will go with search count and k plus plus. So it will run until 0 to search count -1. Okay, so looping through it, and we will save each ID into this list. So dot add, we need to add each of the item or the ID entry which we are retrieving. So where we are retrieving this search IDE is the bundle, and we need to get each entry from it. And once we take the each entry in it, so let's get that index. So get k of 0. So that entry will start with the k, and in that each, so for the 0th entry we are getting the resource. So from here we will get the ID. So get element, get resource. We need to get the ID of that element, and then that part, just get ID of that part, exact part. Okay, so we are receiving each of the entries from that bundle, so and then adding it to the list. So we have a clear ready entry here. So once we have that entries, we need to return that entry. Okay, return, we need to just return the patient ID list. So that's it for here, and we will try to test. Okay, we already have a reader here, and we will just go over to pass a name and let's see what we get it. Okay, so list, we get the list of IDs, and we are trying to reader get the patient ID by patient name, and we will pass as Jets, and we get those IDs. So it's a list. We will just use the system out or print ln and IDs based on name, and we give the IDs list, and it should return all the data. So let's rerun this program, and there are these number of IDs whatever are given with that James ID. Okay, James name. So now this is the program, and let's go for creating a simple unit test cases. Okay, so we already have one, and the server base is already given, and the patient ID. So we will test here with just the ID. So we can just pass the same ID whatever we have used earlier. So we can use this ID, and we will pass into the test case. So we are passing that ID, and we are getting that name by the patient ID, and we are just executing that. So just run this JUnit test case, and that's correct.